Brosmer, Anna Squee, Bob Weaver's weather, and Hank Goldberg with sports. This is News 4.
Good evening, everybody. It broke out at noon today on the steps of the Dade Courthouse, and the fever has infected far-flung parts of South Florida. Hurricane fever, that is. A lot of spirit for the University of Miami in preparation for tomorrow's nationally televised game against Notre Dame. There's even a variety of the fever attacking the Fighting Irish.
And there are hundreds of victims. Mark Trank is with them for a live eye report. Mark?
Camp here. I don't know if you can hear me because I can't hear myself. Of course, we're referring to the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Now, all evening here at the Miami Beach Rock Hotel, several hundred strong Fighting Irish fans have been doing this in a manner only slightly less exuberant than their counterparts at the University of Miami.
Welcome, football fans, to the 1983 Irish Hurricane Classic. With all the bedlam, it's hard to believe the game itself is only a mere 60 minutes long. But never mind, we all know that the pregame festivities are at least as important as the gridiron clash itself. Earlier today at the Dade County Courthouse, fans set the mood for the weekend. High spirits were everywhere as the U of M cheerleaders took to the streets to cheer the Hurricanes on. And later at the University of Miami's Rathskeller, exuberance was the name of the game. As hundreds of fans partied in anticipation of Saturday night, few had any doubts as to which team would score more points.
It's going to be close, but no doubt, Miami. What happened to your eye?
Well, I had a little discussion with a Notre Dame fan. He was bigger than me.
So what happened?
Well, I told him what the score was going to be, and he didn't believe me, so we had an argument, and he gave me a good right.
And a small but definitely enthusiastic crowd gathered outside the Coral Gables City Hall this evening. A celebration even the rain couldn't stop.
Now, as you might expect, some of the people here have a little bit different view as to how the big game's going to go tomorrow night. But I got to disagree. I think the hometown team, the University of Miami, is going to come out victorious. You can see it all tomorrow night on Channel 4. Reporting live, I'm Mark Trank, News 4.
Okay, good luck, Mark. Chris Blatcher report from Fort Lauderdale tonight that the Irish set up a Broward County headquarters as well.
Anna, the Notre Dame fight song echoed across Fort Lauderdale Beach tonight as the Irish alums rallied at the Sheraton Yankee Trader Hotel. More than 200 loyal Irish supporters from states as far away as Ohio, Illinois, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina wore the traditional green and brandished the Irish shamrock as Notre Dame's coach's assistant, Joe Ianto, promised victory.
These young people are embarrassed about last week's loss to Michigan State. We outgained them. Everything else, we just didn't outscore them. And the final score, of course, is what pays off. Well, we don't want that to happen again, so they're anxious to do justice tomorrow night and hope to come back here later in the season in what might be called the Orange Bowl game.
This same crowd tomorrow afternoon plans to board a bus and head for the Orange Bowl, and all these Irish fans expect to see the same result.
Oh, sure, I'm going to predict that Notre Dame's going to win.
Notre Dame's going to win by probably 2 touchdowns. Can't wait. We're going to win big.
Notre Dame's going to win.
I think that last week was a fluke, and Notre Dame won't lose again this year, and they'll win kind of easy tomorrow.
As you can see, this crowd was a bit more than partial for Notre Dame, and even though Jim Brosmer is a Miami graduate, they say that may not be enough for the Hurricanes. Jim?
Thank you, Chris. Rebels fighting the Sandinista government of Nicaragua tonight claim to have made a 4th air raid inside that country. Counter-revolutionaries say light planes dropped 2 250-pound bombs on military targets. 4 U.S. Marines were wounded today in Lebanon by Druze artillery shell fire. The barrage became so intense at one time that officials say 1 shell landed every 5 seconds. Marine artillery and U.S. naval gunfire retaliated after the Marines were hit. Much of Lebanon nowadays is truly a no-man's land. These pictures from a CBS News crew show just how dangerous it is there.
The tank commander says the shells are landing here. Yeah.
Hit. I think I hit. Come here. I've been hit also. Don't move so fast. You're okay, you just burned, that's... I hit my arm. In the bag of bandage.
Shortly after the attack, the injured man was taken offshore to the USS Iwo Jima for medical treatment.
Search teams can't find any survivors, just the bodies of 118 passengers who were aboard a Gulf airliner today when it crashed near the Persian Gulf. One of the passengers aboard was an American. The 737 was trying to land at Abu Dhabi airport. Instead, it crashed into desert mountains. The cause of the air disaster is unknown tonight, but the pilot flying from Pakistan may have radioed in moments before trying to land to tell the tower he had engine problems. An interesting twist emerged today from yesterday's hijacking of an American Airlines jet. The FBI now says the hijacker who diverted the jetliner to Cuba, saying he wanted to go home, may not have been Cuban. The man, identified as Mr. Stallion, reportedly spoke with a trace of a West Indies accent. He was arrested in Cuba when the commandeered plane landed there.
The FBI tonight arrested a Bulgarian man in New York City after he allegedly received some very highly classified material dealing with American nuclear energy. The man is reputedly a member of the Bulgarian secret police working here under the cover of that country's commercial offices in New York City. In the Philippines, violence continued today, leaving at least 15 persons injured. Between 500 and 1,000 demonstrators battled police and army troops in Manila guarding the residence of President Ferdinand Marcos. In another part of the city, at least 9,000 protesters demonstrated against United States backing of the Marcos government. The renewed fighting came just 2 days after 11 people were killed in rioting near the presidential palace. It came just 1 day after Marcos threatened to use increased force to quell the protests of his 18-year rule. At least 52 people were arrested in today's rioting.
Shoppers at the Galiano supermarket were undoubtedly surprised tonight when a 1974 Dodge drove right into the store. Officers say that was the car's final resting place after it slid through the rain-slick streets of Miami. Police report that the driver, Betsy Carapace, lost control of her vehicle and hit another car. That one hit 2 others, while her car continued down the street. The woman was charged with causing the accident. No one was injured. Florida taxpayers allegedly lost more than $1 million from thefts and other apparent misuses of government funds this year. A 279-page audit report released today on the Department of Health and Rehabilitative Services indicates that all 24 county health units in the state have serious problems with the misuse or misappropriation of funds. The report has prompted investigations across the state. For instance, the state attorney is looking into the possible theft of more than $32,000 from a Broward County health unit.
In a moment on News 4, a kidnapping linked to drugs.
The victim is still missing, and we'll also tell you about a little girl brought back to life after almost drowning tonight. A near tragedy tonight in Hialeah when 12-year-old Melissa Pinales went to play in the lake behind her parents' townhouse at about 6 o'clock. Melissa doesn't know how to swim and she went under. Luckily, 2 teenagers pulled her to the surface, but the girl had no pulse or heartbeat for up to 5 minutes. Her mother, a nurse at Miami's Bascom Palmer Eye Institute, administered mouth-to-mouth resuscitation helped by a Hialeah police sergeant, and they brought Melissa back to life.
From the way she looked, and I felt her for her pulse, and she wasn't breathing. I really thought that she was really dead, but I wanted to do something, you know. I just couldn't see her going, and at that time, I really didn't panic. So I started doing, you know, what I knew that she needed to be done. I am very grateful to God.
Anytime you have somebody that's not breathing, you have to start CPR, keep the artificial means going in case there is a chance for her to be revived, keep the oxygen and the heart pumping. That's mainly the thing to do.
Paramedics with the Hialeah Fire Department also helped in the rescue. Tonight, Melissa is still in intensive care. Her condition is critical but stable.
Metro-Dade police continue to search for a kidnapping victim tonight. They say 46-year-old Alvaro Isaso was apparently abducted by this man, 35-year-old Jaime Marin Aramillo, on September the 14th. Aramillo, a known drug trafficker, jumped bail on federal charges and then kidnapped Isaso. According to police, the kidnapped victim owes Aramillo about $200,000. Aramillo was demanding a ransom of a 100-acre plot of land in Colombia. It's planted with cocoa. Police believe that the victim is being held somewhere in Dade County, and an arrest could come later tonight. The customs agent arrested last night for selling drugs to an informant remains in jail tonight, unable to make the bond of $250,000. Joseph Price has been put in 20 years of government service and was nearing the age for retirement. Another 35 customs agents are coming to Miami to work at the airport to help catch drug smugglers. The idea is to set up manpower to conduct more thorough searches of travelers. U.S. Senator Paula Hawkins from Florida made the announcement today in a trip to Miami.
Senator Paula Hawkins tonight has added her voice to the growing clamor of Republicans calling for James Watt to resign. The Interior Secretary is taking heat for remarks earlier this week insulting the handicapped, among others. Even the president's new advisor for women's affairs, his daughter Maureen, is critical too.
My sadness about Mr. Watt is that from what I have seen over the last couple of years, he must have sent enough apologies to the president to paper a wall. Why doesn't he just send his resignation?
Secretary Watt has apologized but says he is not going to resign. The good news from Washington today was deceptive. Consumer prices rose only 0.4% in August, the same rate as a month before. That means no more than a 4% inflation rate for the year so far. But prices are lower as farmers sell off cattle they can't afford to feed, and that means meat prices will soon climb much higher.
Broward law enforcement officials are gearing up for a new law designed to help police recover stolen precious metals. The new law, which takes effect October 1st, will require more than 300 Broward precious metal dealers to do the following: hold all purchased gold, silver, and other metals for 5 days before resale. Refuse to buy any metals from anyone under the age of 18. Get a thumbprint of a person selling the precious metals, and give police a detailed description of all metals purchased, a requirement police say will be very helpful.
In the previous experience we've had, they would put gold ring. They didn't tell me what type of ring it was, what the manufacturer identification was on it, what the embossment was on the outside, did it have any precious stones on it. This was a very, very difficult task to check a gold ring against an item which was reported stolen either in a robbery or burglary.
Precious metals dealers include all pawn shops and jewelry stores and junk dealers who buy copper and railroad ties. 400 priests from the Archdiocese of Miami today ended a week-long retreat welcoming a new priest to their ranks. Father John Noonan was ordained during ceremonies in North Palm Beach. It marked the end of the Archdiocese's first week-long retreat, designed in part to discourage clergy from leaving the priesthood. South Florida, according to Catholic Church officials, has 500 fewer priests than are needed.
Back in a moment to check the weekend football weather with Bob. I'm sure you'll agree that the Hurricanes and the Dolphins could use a little cooperation from the weatherman this weekend.
Well, they're going to get some cooperation. I'll tell you how much cooperation. I wanted to cooperate so much, I called Coach Schellenberg and told him that I would be a backup for him. In fact, I went out to the Orange Bowl to try out.
Oh, boy.
Then I tried to kick.
Uwe, you're not, huh?
Well, the only thing is he didn't want to use me as a team member, but he said he could use me as a tire. Well, temperature right now is 79 Miami, 79 Miami Beach, 79 Kendall, Fort Lauderdale, 79, and West Palm Beach, 76 degrees. The barometer, 30.08 and rising, humidity 79%. The winds out of the northeast, 12 miles per hour. Temperature of the water, 85, and the air quality was not reported today. The almanac, the high temperature, 88, the low 74. The record, 94 degrees in 1943. On our color radar, here you see them all, showers and thunderstorms offshore. We had some fairly heavy ones here, and down through the Keys, they had some fairly severe thunderstorms. Most of the area was over the water. However, all these are moving south and west. So apparently the very heavy thunderstorms will skirt us and move down. You folks down through the Keys will be getting some showers and thunderstorms, and these will spread a little bit, so some of these showers and thunderstorms will reach the coast. These are not associated with our normal weather pattern. We have a little wave now that has started to move through the area. What it's doing is triggering off a lot of these showers and thunderstorms in conjunction with an old front to the north. Tomorrow we will have showers and thunderstorms, but it should not be like this. All right, let's look at the satellite picture. There is the front through the northern sections. It's very weak and diffused, but that in combination with the little area that moved across caused a lot of weather. It's going to improve. You're going to the football game tomorrow. I will give you that in just a moment as we look at this. High pressure is moving east. Our winds are coming out of the northeast. This is bringing moisture in. So even when that wave goes through, showers and thunderstorms will be prevalent tomorrow. Going to the game tomorrow night, it should not be as bad because most of the heavy weather generally subsides after sunset. However, with the northeast and easterly flow, there's a good chance some showers will be moving in during the evening hour. They should be lighter, but you should come prepared. Take your umbrella and raincoat just for those brief showers that do move in. For the Dolphins game, you'll have to take your raincoat. There's a possibility of some showers and thunderstorms during the afternoon. Look at the circulation of the high. Moving out of the northeast, moving south, grabbing that warm air, pulling it all the way up, and over the next 24 hours, a warming trend will set into many of the areas that had extremely cold weather. Heavy showers and thunderstorms to the west, Arizona reporting some flood problems. Let's take a look at our forecast right now, and as we do, we will show you what you can expect for the next couple of days. Variable cloudiness with showers and thunderstorms. Low about 75, the high 87 degrees. Boating is going to be a bit on the rough side, 4 to 6 foot sea, small craft advised to use caution. And that's the way the weekend's going to be.
Okay, so the hometown boys will have to win without your help.
Oh, I don't know about
I certainly
that.
hope so.
Yes.
Thanks. Next to tell us more about tomorrow night's big game for the Hurricanes, Eddie has the pro picks, too. Some pre-game show tonight, I would think.
Cheer, cheer for... I used to be Irish, you know, before I moved down here. The fundamental thing that keeps interest in sports at a peak level is that what we've got going on right now, big confrontations in football, baseball, and boxing. We'll get to the Miami-Notre Dame game and tonight's big fight in a minute, but first, to the showcase showdown in baseball, the Dodgers and the Braves. Los Angeles embarked on its key 3-game series with Atlanta tonight without its best reliever, Steve Howe. He's been suspended indefinitely for missing the team charter and refusing to take a drug test. It's the 3rd suspension this season for Howe. But it was the Braves pitching staff that needed relief in this game. Atlanta starter Len Barker hung out to dry by the Dodgers, who raced to a 4-0 lead after Mike Marshall delivered a 2-run triple in the 3rd. The Braves came back with a pair in the 4th inning, but Kenny Landreau erased that with his own 2-run shot in the 5th. That made it 6-2 L.A., and Braves coaches were calling for reinforcements. Their bullpen got nailed as well. A Dodger suicide squeeze made it 7-2 before Dusty Baker put it away for L.A. with a 3-run homer. The Dodgers romp 11-2, and the Braves sink quickly into the West. Silent Steve Carlton went after his 300th career pitching victory tonight in St. Louis as the Philadelphia Phillies try to shut the door on everybody else in the National League East. Stevie Wonder had the Cards flapping at the breeze early on. Carlton has beaten his former teammates 36 times before tonight, and he did some damage with his bat, too, driving in his first run of the year and Phillies' first of the game in the 2nd. David Green put a temporary crimp in Carlton's milestone bid with a 2-run homer. That gives St. Louis a 2-2 tie. But the Phils are hot at the plate. They erupted for 3 in the 5th, giving Carlton enough cushion to get that 300th win, 6-2. Pittsburgh beat Montreal. They keep pace with with Philadelphia. Here's how they stand. L.A. leads the West by 5.5. Philly out in front by 3. Elsewhere, San Francisco leads Houston in the 9th. Cubs beat the Mets 4-1. San Diego over Cincinnati. American League, Baltimore beat Milwaukee, and Detroit shut out Boston, so the O's magic number's now 2. Yankees lead Cleveland in the 9th, 7-4. Kansas City beat Minnesota. Gaylord Perry announces retirement tonight. Texas over Seattle. Chicago, California scoreless after 1. Oakland leading Toronto 1-0 that game in the 2nd inning. Jerry Coetzee stunned the boxing world tonight by knocking out heavily favored champion Michael Dokes in the 10th round to capture the WBA heavyweight championship in Richfield, Ohio. Dokes has been a real hot dog. He hasn't trained right, and it showed tonight. On the undercard there, Tim Witherspoon, the next champ, knocked out James Tillis in the 1st round. Tomorrow's University of Miami football game against Notre Dame will be televised nationwide by CBS and locally by Channel 4 at 9 o'clock. Add to the national publicity all the local buildup we've seen all week. What you've got's a lot of pressure on a bunch of young football players. But to prepare properly, players can't get carried away with it all. Hurricanes offensive line coach Chris Fagotas tells us how his players deal with pressure.
The mental pressures everybody has to deal with individually, and we try to talk about isolating ourselves and divorcing ourselves from everybody else around us. especially when we get near the ball game and the situation where we really have to do some things, and it's going to have to count for us. So we kind of just start to have closed ears and really divorce ourselves from the rest of the world as the ball game nears during the week.
With all the college football craziness in the air, we almost forgot about the pros. Well, I haven't. Here's some games to ponder this weekend. Week 4 in the NFL is a toughie, but like the man says, last week was easy. Got to keep going against Tampa Bay. The Bucs should not be favored over any pro team, and despite Cincinnati's endless problems, the Bucs could be just the cure. In their last 2 games, the Jets have yielded over 500 rushing yards against Seattle and New England, and here comes the Pony Express's Eric Dickerson. Look for a lot of scoring in this one with the Rams on top. Bring back Walt Michaels. Here's another high-scoring affair between the best of the West. This may shock you, but the 49ers have lost their last 6 games at home. Atlanta always plays them tough and has a better defense, so go with the Falcons. That's my 4-star lock. And I finally get to pick a favorite. Green Bay's like San Diego. The pack crumbles against good defenses, and the Giants' offense stirred somewhat in Dallas. They should run through and over the Packer defensive line. And the Dolphins will bounce back against KC, but the points there are scary. High school football tonight. New Orleans over Coral Gables. Northwestern beats Killian. Miami over North Miami Beach. And Southridge wiped out Coral Park. Nothing yet on Palmetto Miami Lakes. Boyd Anderson lost to Dillard. Piper over Coconut Creek. Nova over Cooper City. Plantation beat Pompano Beach. St. Thomas over South Plantation. We don't have anything on South Broward and Western. Those scores courtesy of Y100. The 7th and deciding America's Cup sailing races tomorrow. An appropriate motto for Americans would be, give me liberty or give me death. Get it? Postseason house cleaning coming up for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Ray Hudson and Mike Walsh are off for England. They can come back next year if they want to be signed, but there may not be any team to go back to. Where do I go? This way. There's so much stuff. I give up.
Parents often find many occasions to take pride in their children, and this past week, one local couple had good reason to be especially proud of their son. You've heard the story. John Ayers saved a woman from an unruly crowd Saturday night, and tonight his parents shared some of the limelight for his act of heroism. They accepted an award for him at the annual banquet of the Crime Commission of Greater Miami. John was unable to be there because he's still recuperating from injuries he suffered in the rescue.
Don't forget to watch Jim Dyer and Pam Salisbury on News 4 over the weekend.
Thanks for watching, and you have a great weekend.